Welcome back to another daily code breakdown. Let's jump right into it. Today we are looking at the problem called rotating the box. Real quick, if you get confused at any point during this video, please pause and ask a question in the comments. I keep an eye on them and I'll do my best to help you out. Here is the problem page. It has a bit of text, so let's break down exactly what it's asking us to do using some visuals. We are given a grid that represents the side view of a box. Inside this box we have three types of items. A hash symbol is a stone. An asterisk is an obstacle that won't move. And a period is just empty space. The first thing we need to do is imagine physically turning this box 90 degrees clockwise. So the rows become columns, and the columns become rows. But here is the catch. After we rotate the box, gravity takes over. The stones are going to fall downward, through the empty spaces, until they hit the bottom of the box, hit an obstacle, or hit another stone. The most straightforward way to solve this is to just follow the instructions literally. This is our brute force approach. We can split this into two separate tasks. First, we rotate the whole grid. Then we apply gravity to let the stones fall. If you haven't rotated a grid in code before, there is a handy trick for a 90-degree clockwise turn. First, you find the transpose of the matrix, which means swapping rows and columns. Then, you just reverse the order of items in each row. Let's look at how to code that. Here is what that looks like in Python. We create a new blank grid called result. We loop through the original box, mapping the item at row j, column I, to row I, column j in the new grid. That handles the transpose. Then, we just call reverse on every row. Now for gravity. In our brute force method, we go column by column in our new rotated grid. We start at the bottom of a column and work our way up. If we find an empty space, we stop and look up. Once we find an empty space, we start a second loop, looking at all the cells directly above it. If we hit an obstacle, we stop searching. If we find a stone, we tell it to drop down into the empty space we found. Here is the first half of the full brute force code, putting the rotation setup inside our main function. And here is the gravity part. You can see we have three nested loops here. One for the columns, one for going up the rows, and a third inner loop just to scan upwards for a stone whenever we see an empty space. This works, but that inner scan is doing a lot of extra work. Because of that extra scan looking for stones, our time complexity is big O of m times n squared. The space complexity is big O of m times n, because we created a new grid to hold the rotated box. Let's see if we can speed up the gravity. For our second approach, we optimize the gravity step. Instead of finding an empty space and then scanning upwards for stones, what if we just scan upwards once? We can keep track of where the lowest available empty cell is at all times. We process each column from bottom to top. We create a pointer to remember the lowest empty cell. If we see an obstacle, stones can't fall past it, so we reset our pointer to the space right above the obstacle. If we see a stone as we scan up, we immediately drop it to wherever our lowest empty cell pointer is currently pointing. Then, we move our pointer up by 1, because that cell is now filled with a stone. We only have to look at each cell once. Here is the setup for the optimized approach. The rotation logic is exactly the same as before, so I've hidden it here to keep things clean. But look at the gravity loop now. We removed that third nested loop. We just have a variable tracking the lowest empty cell. If we hit a stone, we swap it and move the pointer. If we hit an obstacle, we update the pointer. Much cleaner. By removing that inner search loop, our time complexity drops to big O of m times n. We still use big O of m times n space for the new grid. But wait, we can actually make the code even shorter. For our third approach, let's think about efficiency. Right now we do a full pass to rotate the grid, and another full pass to simulate gravity. We can actually combine these into a single step. There is a mathematical formula for rotating a matrix. A cell at row I and column j in the original box will always end up at row j and column m-1-i in the rotated box. Instead of rotating first, we can scan the original grid row by row, from right to left. Because right to left in the original grid is exactly the same as bottom to top in the rotated grid. We can use our same gravity pointer trick, but place the items directly into their final rotated positions. Here is the code for the combined approach. First, we create our result grid, but this time we initialize the whole thing with empty space periods. This saves us from having to fill them in later when stones move. Then, we scan the original box. For each row, we go backwards. If we see a stone, we place it in the result grid at our tracked lowest empty cell, using our math formula for the column. If we see an obstacle, we place it using the formula, and update our lowest cell pointer. Notice we only check the original box and only write to the new box. The complexity remains the same, big O of m times n, for both time and space. However, this third approach is practically much faster, because it only makes one pass through the data instead of multiple passes. As always, we should think about edge cases. What if the box is already full of stones and obstacles? Our pointers would update, but stones would just drop into their same spots. The math handles it beautifully without crashing. To summarize the lessons from this problem, remember that matrix rotation is just a math formula mapping coordinates. We learned that using a pointer to track available space is way faster than repeatedly searching for it. And finally, combining steps can optimize our code. Quick channel update for you all. I've tweaked the format of the videos to make the slides a bit shorter and more visual, moving away from huge walls of text. Please let me know in the comments if you like this faster pace, and remember to drop any problem questions there too. Also, in case you are new here, you can probably tell this is narrated by AI. I built this automated system for myself to study daily problems faster, and I upload them here to help you all out. I don't run ads or take sponsorships because I hate distractions while coding. We've covered the Python solution, but if you need Java, C++, or JavaScript, I will show those next. If you don't want to type them out, you can copy the exact code from my site, LeetCode.unlocked.com, using the link in the description. Here is the optimized single-pass solution written in Java. Next up, here is the exact same logic written in C++. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. Before you go, I want to mention my other channel, LeetCode Unlocked. The goal over there is to eventually upload a visual explanation for literally every problem on the platform, not just the daily challenges. Check out the link below if you want to study other problems. If you found this explanation helpful and want to support the channel, you can buy me a boba using the link on screen. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can finish your daily streak early. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.